Jackson in the key. Kick out. Davenport.
A steal for Kentucky. Ahead to Reeves. Left wing three. Got it. Jackson weaves.
A dunk. Bounces off to Adu and he slams it home.
All right, we are recording. Welcome back to another episode of the Student Section, a podcast all about basketball, mainly college basketball, mainly SEC basketball, but once again, just about basketball in general. Let me pull this closer. We got a good one today. I'm going to be covering just the finals as of what we've seen so far. It is currently Sunday, June 10th. Yeah, June 10th. The game 2 just wrapped up, so I have opinions based off of only game 1 and 2. But before we get into playoff stuff, I do just want to quickly talk about that Lakers head coaching position that potentially could be filled as soon as tomorrow, honestly. There have been a lot of reports of Dan Hurley, and for those of you guys who don't know, that is the UConn men's basketball head coach, the guy who just went back-to-back in March Madness wins. So, I don't know. A report came out today that Dan Hurley had said that the Lakers had made a good sell. They sold themselves? Like, they sold the head coaching position very well to Dan Hurley. They said he would announce his decision by tomorrow. So that's why I'm saying we could find out the new head coach for the Lakers as soon as tomorrow if he accepts the job. Hopefully, okay. I don't know. So I didn't like the JJ Redick stuff just because it's not good for a first-time coach to come into this sort of position with a guy like LeBron and Anthony Davis and the Lakers, who are no matter who's on their team, they're a team contending. They want to win a championship no matter what's going on their team, no matter who they have, they want to win a championship. That's just how the Lakers are. They name chase. And historically, especially with LeBron there, I talked about this with the Darvin Ham firing. Every LeBron team, and especially these Laker LeBron teams, the coaches have always been the scapegoats. You look at Darvin Ham and you look at, I don't know why I can't remember his name. Every time I record, I just can't remember people's names. He's coaching the Phoenix Suns now. I'm pretty sure he got fired too. But I don't know why I can't think. I got to look this up. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I don't know why I forgot his name. Frank Vogel. For those of you who don't know, I'm pretty sure, he won the championship. He was in like the top conversations for Coach of the Year. I don't think he won Coach of the Year because I'm pretty sure Monty Williams won it with the Suns. But I'm pretty sure he was in conversations for Coach of the Year. He gets fired. They hire Darvin Ham, who admittedly didn't do the best job, but once again, they're going to scapegoat to the coaches for the Lakers. They're not really going to blame LeBron or AD. So that's why I didn't like the job for JJ Redick, especially being his first, not even head coaching, but his first coaching position at all. Not even player development, not assistant coach, not a scout. Oh my gosh, I just mixed up two words. Not a scout/stat guy, not a film room guy, just straight into the head coach position. I did not like that hiring. I would like him much better with the Hornets, where there's a lot less expectation and you can just kind of develop with your players. So I just didn't like that because if he doesn't succeed in the next 2 years, he's getting fired and that ruins his whole resume. And then a guy like Dan Hurley, I don't like that hiring because he's in such a good position with UConn. I would assume UConn fans love this dude. He just went back-to-back in March Madness. He's built a dynasty in college basketball. You don't really see stuff like that in college basketball. And I just don't think it's in his best interest to move on from that right now. By no means am I saying I don't want this dude to have a head coaching position in the NBA because I think he'd make an amazing NBA head coach. I want him to get his bag, but I just think his situation right now with UConn is so much better than the Lakers. If he can wait 2 years, if that, there might be another better head coach opening that he could take. Maybe the Bucks, for some reason, might have a head coach opening. Maybe the Cavs might have a head coach opening. I know there's been talks there. There are better jobs if he waits 1 or 2 more years, and I would assume he'd be a head candidate for all of those. I just don't like this Laker hiring, especially for him coming. That would be his first head coaching position in the NBA, I believe. I haven't fact checked that or anything, but I would just hate for him to leave his good situation with UConn, come to the LA Lakers, and get fired in the next 3 years because they didn't win a championship. I just don't want to see that for him. With that being said, it may seem like I just don't want anyone to coach the team, which would be amazing, honestly, because then they just let LeBron coach the team. That way you can't scapegoat the coach every single time. But a list of candidates I am thinking that would make a good fit. Obviously, Mike Budenholzer. I think he was like one of the front runners for the head coaching position because he's an established coach. He's been in the league for a while. He was a championship coach for the Bucks. A lot of people didn't like his schemes the most. But he had a good scheme with Brook Lopez, which I would assume he can make a good scheme around Anthony Davis as well. And LeBron and Giannis kind of have similar play styles. Obviously, LeBron's a better shooter. I'm not comparing them. But they, drive to the rim, get to the rim. So he'd be familiar with that kind of personnel. They have an Austin Reeves whenever he was, familiar with the Pat Connaughton or a Dante DiVincenzo. I'm just saying, like, the familiarity with personnel is definitely there. I don't really know any other head coaches on the block right now. Obviously, they're not going to go and rehire Frank Vogel. If for some reason JB Bickerstaff loses his job with the Cavaliers, I couldn't remember their name, that would fit. I'm going to look up just a list of potential head coaches. I'll be right back as well. Okay, the main notable person I actually know is Sam Cassell, player coach, obviously. I think that would maybe be one of the better options as well. I don't know. I don't know if this team needs a coach who's young and was a player, kind of new to the whole coaching scene, or if they need a guy like Mike Budenholzer who's an established coach. I don't really know all the either one I think could work. I just don't want them to go and get out a first-year coach and ruin this dude's career. That's the only thing. And I'm more so talking for the coaches. Like, don't take that job if it's like your first career head coaching with the NBA. Just it'll ruin your career. You'll have a bad reputation. I guarantee you, if Dan Hurley leaves UConn and gets fired from the Lakers, UConn will not want to take him back. They might, but I just don't think they will. I just think it'd be better if he waited. I think it'd be better if JJ Redick took the Hornets. Maybe he'd even take the Cavs. I think I mentioned that maybe. I just don't think either of those guys should take the Lakers head coaching position. So that is all the head coaching talk I want to discuss. I don't think there's any other topics kind of floating around the NBA right now, other than the finals, obviously. So let's get right into that. So the Lakers, I'm stuck on the Lakers still. The Celtics and the Mavs are in the finals right now, 2024 NBA Finals. And the Celtics are up 2-0 currently. Like I said, this is June 10th. So this could be completely changed by the time you're watching this. I don't know, because the next game isn't until Wednesday, so we got plenty of time to sit on this. But yeah, it's weird. So I know in my previous video I had predicted that the Mavericks were going to win in 7. I'm going to be honest, that was just a fan pick. That's who I wanted to win. I wasn't really thinking critically and being like, all right, the Celtics are obviously they're probably going to win. So I'm not going back with hindsight, obviously, hindsight 2020. I'm just saying I was wrong, obviously. There's still a chance it could go to 7, but the way they're playing right now, I was wrong. I'll admit it. I've admitted multiple times I'm wrong just in these 14 videos I've recorded so far. But yeah, that was obviously a fan pick, not an analyst pick. I'm not, by no means am I calling myself an analyst, but there are a lot of different things I'm noticing while watching. The main thing, obviously, with the Mavericks is Luka isn't getting much help. It's pretty much like PJ Tucker's put up, I think, 17 and 14 or maybe 16. He's pretty much averaging around 16 points in just the first 2 games. And Kyrie, on the other hand, put up, I think, 14 and 15. So he's probably averaging 14.5 points. That's the main kind of talking point right now is Kyrie putting up stinkers. Because, normally 14 points or 15 points is like a nice little addition to the top 2 scorers. So if like their third or fourth scorer is putting up that much points, that's a good thing. But in terms of like Kyrie standards, that 14 isn't going to help them win, especially with him being the second scorer on this team, and a team that is so ISO heavy. They rely a lot on him. PJ Tucker has been doing pretty good, or not PJ. I think I might have been saying PJ Tucker this whole time. I meant PJ Washington. He has been doing not very good this series, but decent. Especially after he went out and just bazookaed the Thunder. He didn't really have a good series last series. But it is weird seeing PJ Tucker. I said it again, PJ Washington. Oh my gosh. After he just absolutely torched the Thunder, turned into prime Scottie Pippen basically. He's putting up good production. Derek Lively isn't scoring the ball because they're not I'll talk about that in a second. Derek Lively isn't scoring the ball as much, neither is Daniel Gafford, but they are getting their rebounds and whatnot. The main thing that the Celtics are able to do with the personnel they have, which I'm surprised the Wolves couldn't do this, is they're pretty much eliminating the pick and roll. They're pretty much just blitzing it super quick before the roll man has time to get to the basket, so Luka can't be throwing up any lobs or none of that. I mean, obviously Luka's getting his points, he's getting his assists. He's put up like 30 points, I think, in both games or something like that. But yeah, the Celtics are doing a really good job with that pick and roll defense, just keeping the roll man from getting too deep into the rim and getting an alley-oop or whatever. They're pretty much forcing Luka to give the ball at the top of the key to the roll man. And they're pretty much just letting Luka play. And they're just not letting him get other people involved, which is obviously part of that pick and roll scheme, which is why Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford aren't really putting up numbers like you would expect them to. Same with Derek Jones Jr. And obviously, like, I think the primary matchup both games might have been Jaylen Brown on Luka, or maybe he got switched on a lot. I don't really know. I know I saw a lot of Jaylen Brown, a little bit of Jason Tatum, obviously Drew and Derek White here and there. But one thing I have been very impressed is the Celtics' transition defense on Luka. I've noticed a lot. I don't know if this is by scheme or if it's just by coincidence / luck, but it seems like in transition, Drew Holiday is able to defend him very well, get up into his comfort zone, make him uncomfortable, and make Luka force up a pass real quick. And that's where Derek White comes in, who's playing off balls like a free safety basically in their transition defense, and he's been getting a lot of steals, or at least just he's just swatting away passes, getting a hand on the ball. And so I've been very impressed with their ability to slow him down in the transition part. Obviously, he's putting up his numbers in the half court because, like I said in my last episode, Drew Holiday and Derek White are both too small to guard Luka. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are the more physically accurate players that you would want guarding him, the more physically equipped players, I should say. But obviously, you don't want your star scorers to be worn down. And another thing with the Celtics that just kind of makes me believe that this series is over is the fact that they haven't had a Jason Tatum game or a Jaylen Brown game. The first game was the Porzingis game, fresh off of injury, came in, put up buckets, put the game away. The second game was the Drew Holiday game, locking up on one end and going down and scoring 26 on the other end. And playmaking, obviously, getting a couple rebounds here and there. But that's, if you're the Mavericks, that's scary. If you're the Celtics, you're seeing all these good games that Luka's having, and you're still winning up 2-0 with convincing wins at that, not even really close games. I mean, Game 2 was a little close here and there, same with Game 1, but at the end of the day, they weren't really close at the end. The only thing you would worry about a little bit with the Celtics is if Kyrie does start to get cooking, how are you going to manage guarding both those guys with their playmaking ability and the lob threats that they have? I think once Kyrie starts to get going, Luka's game is going to open up a lot more with that pick and roll because you're not going to be able to blitz as easily, especially if you're bringing Kyrie up. It just depends. I think that will open up the game. PJ Tucker's been doing amazing. If Derek Jones Jr. can also start to hit his threes, obviously he's a guy that they're going to let shoot the ball. But if he can hit a couple of threes in the game and make them step up just a little bit more and double think, what's the word I'm thinking of? Just rethink about, gapping him that much. That could also open up the game a lot. There's just a few minor things that could help Luka out a lot more. But at the end of the day, this Celtics team is just, they have too many players. I mean, their whole starting five could be an all-star roster. Not a roster, but they could all make an all-star team. I mean, Derek White's a little bit of a stretch, but he could. Drew Holiday's made all-star teams. Porzingis, obviously, Brown and Tatum have made all-star teams. And then not to mention Al Horford. I don't know if he's been off the bench or been starting. I haven't really been paying attention too much because I've been busy. But I have been able to watch clips and tune in the game here and there. So, pardon me on that. But, yeah, it's just... It's definitely strange just to watch the way that Luka went from this entire playoffs to having so much help, and that's the reason they're here is because everyone else on the team was playing amazing, and then now they're here and it's kind of like, all right, nobody's really doing anything except for Luka. Obviously, like I've been saying, PJ Washington, Kyrie's put up a little bit here and there, but other than that, it's not really been much help for Luka, which is kind of how you see Luka teams go. It's pretty much just him carrying the weight. Hopefully these next few games, the role players can kind of step in and provide more support for Luka. And if you're the Celtics, you just hope that this continues to happen. You'll get your Jason Tatum, you'll get your Jaylen Brown games. And at this rate that we're looking at, Kristaps Porzingis is going to be the Finals MVP. Obviously, that's not going to happen. I don't think anyone's going to win it except for Jason Tatum, even if Jaylen Brown continuously outplays him, which he has so far. Because I know Jaylen Brown did win the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, the Larry Bird Conference Finals MVP, but whenever it comes to like actual Finals MVP, you don't really see it given to anybody except for the star player, no matter how good they played. They made that mistake with Iguodala, and now people complain, and now that doesn't really happen anymore. Because like if you look at the 2020 Finals, I believe LeBron got the Finals MVP, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna fact check that. Yeah, so I did double check it because I just wanted to make sure. LeBron did win the Finals MVP that year, even though a lot of people thought it should have been Anthony Davis's award just because it's LeBron, it's his name. But yeah, that is one thing that happens a lot with the Finals MVP, so I wouldn't be surprised if Jason Tatum still wins it just because he's widely known as the best player on this team. But if you ask Jason Kidd and Drew Holiday, the best player is Jaylen Brown. And I think a lot of that has to do with just Jason Tatum's play style. I hate watching his play. Like, whenever he makes the shots, it looks good. He has a good form. He has all the dribble package. He has the bag, right? But he just forces up so many difficult shots that he doesn't need to be forcing up. Everyone knows he has the sidestep. He has the step back. He has all the spin moves in the mid-range. It's like he always passes up the easy shot. Like, he'll have a smaller defender on him, and instead of going to the rim, he just does a sidestep and bails that defender out because he wants to make the hard shot. It really feels like he just gives up. He passes up all the easy shots and tries to take all the hard shots. Hopefully that's something that as he gets older, he learns to stop doing, because all the best scorers, they get the easy shots. You look at Shea, you look at Ant, you look at Jokic, you look at all these other guys, they get the easy shots. Jason Tatum doesn't get those easy shots. Like Jimmy Butler, Devin Booker, all the elite scorers in the league. I think once Jason Tatum starts to evolve his game to get to the free throw line, to get to the rim, he's going to be so much more of an effective player, which is something that Jaylen Brown does a lot better. I will say Jaylen Brown is so much better at getting an easier shot. Obviously, people talk about his left hand doesn't really exist. He's gotten a little bit better this year, I will say that, but he's just better at getting to the rim. He can shoot threes. He doesn't have the sidestep perimeter bag that Jason Tatum does, but he can make his own shot. He can catch off the catch and shoot. He can shoot off the catch. He can shoot off the dribble, obviously. He has a little bit of a mid-range, obviously not as good as Jason Tatum, but he's a much better finisher at the rim. He's much better at getting to the rim, and he's a much better at getting to the free throw line as well. So, with all that being said, I would love to see Jaylen Brown get the recognition he deserves. But I don't think, no matter what happens, it's going to go to Jason Tatum. That's my opinion. Unless, for some reason, Kristaps Porzingis the next 2 or 3, 4 games, he just goes berserk. I just don't see that happening. But I think that's everything I want to talk about. A lot shorter of a video today just because there's not really much to talk about as of now. I have so much draft stuff I want to do. I just can't wait until the finals are over, which sounds weird. Obviously, I don't want basketball to end, but I cannot wait for draft stuff, so stay tuned for that. I appreciate you guys for tuning into this short episode, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.